channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about verbs. So let us start our slide. So yes, what is a verb? So verbs are words that express physical actions, example to jump, mental actions, example to guess, or states of being, example to exist. Here are some more examples. Physical actions to swim, to ride, to climb. Mental actions to think, to ponder, to consider. States of being to be, to exist, and to see. Verbs are extremely important. Every sentence requires a verb. The verb in a sentence tells us what the subject is doing. You might find it useful to think of verbs as doing verbs. What are verbs? Verbs express physical action, mental action, and states of being that we have discussed in our previous. To jump, to think, to be. To jump is the example of physical action. To think is the example of mental action. To be is the example of states of being. Now, verbs expressing physical actions. Here are some sentences with verbs that express physical actions. In each example, the verb is in bold. She sells pegs and lucky Heather. So here, the bold colored is sells, and this is the physical action of verb. The doctor wrote the prescription. Here, wrote is the verb, which shows physical action. Ellen bought a ticket. Bought here is physical action. The verbs sells, wrote, and bought all express physical activities. Now, verbs expressing mental actions. Verbs can also express mental actions. For example, Peter guessed the right number. So here the mental action done by Peter is he is guessing the right number. So here guessed is the mental action done by the Peter. So here guessed is a verb. I think out loud too often. So here think is the verb that shows mental action. She considers her words before she speaks. So here, consider is a mental action. It's also a verb. Okay. The verbs guess, think, and consider all express mental activities. Now, verbs expressing a state of being. A small but extremely important group of verbs do not express any activity at all. They express a state of being. The most important verb in this group is the verb to be. Here are some example sentences with different forms of the verb to be. Edwina is the largest elephant in this area. So here is the state of being. It was a joke. So here was is a verb. I am. So here am is a state of being. The verbs is, was, and am all express states of being. Here are some more verbs that express a state of being. Ellen life almost certainly exist. So here exist is verb. It seemed funny at the time. Here seemed is verb. Now here is the verb to be in the different tenses. Subject I, verb to be, past tense was, present tense am, future tense will be. You, past tense were, present tense present tense are, and future tense will be. He, she, it, past tense was, present tense is, future tense will be. We, past tense were, present tense are, future tense will be. You, past tense were, present tense are, future tense will be. They, past tense were, present tense are, and future tense will be. Now, types of verbs. as well as being categorized as a physical verb, a mental verb, or a state of being verb. A verb will often be further categorized as one of the following: action verb. An action verb expresses an activity that a person or thing can do. For example, Lee eats cake. Eating is something Lee can do. The bear chased the salmon in the shallow rapids. Chasing is something that the bear can do. Compare those verbs with this. Lee likes cake. To like is not an activity, it is a state. The bear is hungry. To be is not an activity, it is also a state. Stative verb. A stative verb expresses a state rather than an action. A stative verb relates to a state of being, a thought, or an emotion. For example, I am at home. She believes in the fairies. He feels elated. So here, the stative verbs are am, believes, and feels. Transitive verb. A transitive verb is one that acts on something. That is, it has a direct object. For example, I saw the dog. Here, the direct object is the dog. Lee ate the pie. The direct object is the pie. The postman will give Sarah the letter. The direct object is the letter. The direct object of a transitive verb can be found by finding the verb and asking what. For example, saw what? Answer the dog. Ate what? Answer the pie. Will give what? Answer the letter. Okay, understood. Now, so, an interrogative verb is one that does not act on something. That is, there is no direct object. For example, the rain fell. My throat hurts. The cat sneezed. Auxiliary verb. An auxiliary verb or helping verb accompanies a main verb to help express tense, voice, or mood. The most common auxiliary verbs are be, have, and do. Here are some examples of auxiliary verb. Lee has eaten all the pies. Here, the auxiliary verb has helped to express the tense of to eat. The table has been prepared. Here, the auxiliary verb has been helped to express the voice of to prepare in the case the passive. If we were to arrive in the next 10 minutes, we would be scheduled. Here, auxiliary verb where and would help to express the mood of to arrive and to be. Okay, understood. Now there is no problem. Here the auxiliary verbs where and would help to express the mood of to arrive and to be. In this case, the subjunctive mood. Now, modal verb. A modal verb is a type of auxiliary verb used to express ideas such as ability, possibility, permission, and obligation. The modal auxiliary verbs are can, could, may, might, okay, must, ought to, shall, should, will, and would. For example, Lee can eat a lot of pies. Here, the modal verb can help to express the idea of ability. Lee might eat that pie before he gets home. Might helps to express the idea of possibility. Lee may eat as many pies as he likes. May helps to express the idea of permission. Lee should give you some of that pie given you bought it. Should express the idea of obligation. Okay. Phrasal verb. A verb is a phrasal verb is a verb made up of more than one word, usually two words. A phrasal verb has a main verb and another word, either a preposition or a particle. The phrasal verb usually has a meaning different to the main verb. For example, A burglar will often break a window to break in. Here, the phrasal verb break in means to enter illegally, which is different to break. If you drop the baton, the team will drop back to last place. The phrasal verb drop back means to fall behind, which is different to drop. Okay. Regular and irregular verb. A regular verb is one that forms its simplest past tense and past participle by adding ed or d to the base form of the verb. Note, there are spelling rules to consider too. Love, loved, has loved. Hate, hated, has hated. Move, moved, has moved. An irregular verb is one that does not conform to this ruling. For example, tell, told, has told. Bleed, bleed, has bleed. Okay. Now verb terminology. There is a lot of terminology associated with verbs. Below are explanations of the most common terms. The infinitive form. The infinitive form of a verb is the version of the verb that appears in the dictionary. In other words, if it is the base form of the verb without any changes. So, look is an example of an infinitive verb. Looks, looked, and looking are not the infinitive form because some changes have been applied. Often, an infinitive verb is preceded by the word to. For example, I have to wear that. Where is the infinitive form of the verb? She wants to go home. Go is the infinitive form of the verb. When the infinitive form of a verb is not preceded by to, it is called the bare infinitive. For example, I must wear a hat. This time, where is a bare infinitive? You should go home now. In this case, go is also a bare infinitive. Past tense. Verbs that express actions in the past are said to be in the past tense. I ran to the lake. They were all there. He talked with more clarity than clarity. Ran, were, and talked are all verbs in the past tense. Future tense. Verbs that express action in the future are said to be in the future tense. These are usually formed by preceding the verb with the word will. I will take the blame. They will surrender. Give me where to stand and I will move the earth. Greek mathematician Archimedes 287 to 212 212 BC. Will take, will surrender, and will move are all verbs in the future tense. Subject of a verb. The person or thing performing the action of the verb is said to be the subject of the verb. Tony borrowed the boat. Tony is the subject of the verb to borrow. The dog looks guilty. The dog is the subject of the verb to look. Who has that? Who is the subject of the verb to be. Now, direct object of a verb. Many verbs perform an action on something. The thing being acted upon is called the direct object of the verb. Terry kissed her hand. Her hand is the direct object of the verb to kiss. Our dog Beverly can eat a whole chicken. A whole chicken is the direct object of the verb to be. Some verbs cannot have a direct object. These verbs are called intransitive verbs. The rain fell heavily. The rain fell, but it did not perform an action on anything. In this example, the verb to fall is an intransitive verb. Jack protested in the street. Jack protested, but he did not perform an action on anything. So the verb to protest is an intransitive verb. Verbs that can have a direct object, most of them are called transitive verbs. Barney copied the answer. The verb copied is a transitive verb. The direct object of the verb is the answer. Terry saw a black fin cutting through the water. The verb saw is a transitive verb. The direct object of the verb is a black pen. Now, indirect object of a verb. Some verbs have two objects, a direct object and an indirect object. The direct object is the person for whom the action was performed. Jamie read the children a story. Here, a story is the direct object and the children is the indirect object. I will bake him a cake. A cake is the direct object and him is the indirect object. The postman gives Anna a letter every day. A letter is the direct object and Anna is the indirect object. Passive sentence. The subject of a sentence does not always do the action of the verb. Sometimes the action is done to the subject. Such sentences are called passive sentences because the subjects are being passive, that is, not doing anything. Carl was arrested. Carl is not doing anything, but he is the subject of the sentence. Okay, this is about passive sentence. Now let us know about active sentence. Active sentence contrast with passive sentence. In any active sentence, the subject of the verb performs the action. We damage the carpet. This is an active sentence. We are the subject. We perform the action of to damage. Okay, Jamie read a story. This is an active sentence. Jamie is the subject. Jamie performed the action of to read. Conjugation of verbs. A verb Okay, a verb can change its form depending on the subject. For example, I am, you are, he is, I write, he writes, the jackal laughs, the jackals laugh. When verbs change in this way, it is known as conjugation. A verb conjugates according to the subject. The subject of a verb can be in one of the six forms. Form I. Form name first person singular. You second person singular. He, she, it, any singular noun example dog, tree, third person singular. Fourth we. Form name first person plural. You. Form name second person plural. They any plural noun example dogs, trees, third person singular. The first three are the singular forms known as first person singular, second person singular, and third person singular. The second three are the plural forms known as the first person plural, the second person plural, and the third person plural. All subjects fit into one of these categories. This issue really causes problem for native English speakers who conjugate verbs correctly without much thought. Participles. Participles are formed from verbs. There are two types. Present participles, example looking, taking, past participle, example looked, taken. Present participles and ing past participle have various endings, example ed, en. Here are some more participles: to sing, singing, song; to drive, driving, driving; to go, going, gone; to rise, rising, rising; to watch, watching, watched; to be, being, been. Participles can function as adjectives. Here are some examples of participles being used as adjectives. Our business is badly affected by the soaring price of wool. The word soaring is present participle. Here it is being used as an active to describe price. He is a forgotten hero. The word forgotten is a past participle. Here it is being used as an adjective to describe the hero. Note: when a verb form like a participle function as an adjective or a noun, it is known as an verbal. So here we have completed our chapter verbs. So if you like, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Okay, bye.